I think that even though some judges are used to doing things a different way, they're starting to listen to our recommendations as the DA's office about not violating people for having THC in their blood.
Frankly, a lot of our laws are out of whack, and that is how we got to have a state that has 800% of its full jail population rather than the national atrocity of 500%. And that's how we got to be so famous for having the most excessive parole in the United States and the second most excessive supervision. But Philadelphia is a particularly disturbing case study. In Philadelphia, we have approximately 40,000 people on supervision, under supervision on probation and parole, while New York City has 12,000 people. New York City is 6 times bigger than Philadelphia, or maybe even a little bit more than that. I guess it's 8 to 10 million, depending upon the time of day in New York. They're 6 times bigger. They got 12,000 people. We got 40,000 people. We have 300 probation and parole officers who are so overwhelmed that their caseloads are absurdly high. And what are we doing in Philadelphia? We're having them spend their time monitoring marijuana use and then go to court to try to violate people who have gotten a job, have turned their lives around, are supporting their families, are paying for their homes. We think it makes sense to send those people to jail because they chose to use marijuana when they could have been doing brown liquor, like the judges who sent them to jail. And it makes no sense whatsoever. And that's why the policy of the Philadelphia DA's office is that we do not see violations when there is a positive result for marijuana. Obviously, if there's more serious things going on, that's a separate question. But if the only violation is marijuana or THC in the blood, we will not see that violation, and we will not try to put people in jail for that. I applaud the efforts here to look more deeply into the problem of having this supervision and therefore having it become a basis for revocation. There's a lot more that we have to do on the probation and parole front, and I'll conclude just by saying this. Perhaps first and foremost is we need to slash the number of people supervised on probation and parole. It should not be difficult when New York City has 12,000 people for us to go from 40,000 people to 20,000 people. That should not be a hard thing to do. And it's actually a good thing to do that makes us all safer when we realize that the science around this, and I'm speaking of science, not the perception, but the science around this, is that when people are on probation and parole for more than 3 years, they are more likely to end up back in jail for exactly the same offense. I'll say it again. When you go past 3 years, you are more likely to have people fail, lose their jobs, go back to jail, commit new crimes, because it is such an overwhelming burden when you got your life together to have to keep reporting, to have to keep paying supervision fees, and frankly to do things that never would have come to anybody's attention, like not smoking weed 5 years after a conviction for a pretty insignificant offense. So I applaud the efforts here to get monitoring of THC out of the supervision for probation and parole.